Today, I'm talking to Michael. Michael only heard about the carnivore diet April 21, 2023. And just 2 months later, he is down 50 pounds and experiencing a host of other benefits. And we're going to get straight into it. Just before we do, please do me a massive favor, smash like, and also please subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel and it enables me to be another voice out there talking about the carnivore diet. Thank you, and let's meet Michael. How did you find this way of eating?
Well, my wife was complaining to me that I was too large, and she took a picture of me eating and took a picture of me when I was falling asleep on the couch. And I looked at it and I said, "Oh my God, that's me." I was 282 pounds at the time. Of course, I was eating the standard, American diet, which is awful. And I was the classic one. If I missed dinner, I was mad. I was hangry, hungry and angry. And so I was eating 3 meals a day and maybe a couple of substantial snacks. And I got up to 282 pounds. So one day, YouTube is my favorite thing to watch and to learn on. So I found your channel and I found Dr. Ken Berry on April 21st. And I watched and I said, this looks like something that I could do, because one of my problems, I was hungry. Oh my gosh, I was hungry. And then I was like hypoglycemic. If I didn't eat for 6 hours, I would start sweating. My blood sugar would crash to 50. And my wife says I would get goofier than normal. So I would run to get a candy bar and a Coke full of sugar. And boy, do I look at that different now. I swear, I look at sugar as like a poison. So I just said, this is something I can try. So initially, I had breakfast and then I had lunch. And I could have breakfast at 6 in the morning, and 6 hours later, I was moderately hungry. And I wasn't used to going this amount of time with not being hungry. So eventually, I cut it down to 2 meals a day. So now I eat, my first meal of the day is at noon. I might eat 4 eggs with some butter and maybe some bacon with it. And then my next meal will be about 5 p.m. and maybe some hamburger patties or some ground hamburger or steak. And then I'm not hungry for about 18 hours. I fast every day, which to me is amazing. I could not do this before.
It really is amazing when you experience it for the first time. You've gone from feeling hungry all the time to suddenly being able to go for such an extended period without even thinking about food, right?
That's the truth. Though one day I kind of tested my limits and I fasted for 24 hours, which that was unheard of for me before April. But now I could do it. I could probably go longer, because I said, okay, it's 24 hours. I probably should eat something now. And so then I had my 2 meals or maybe 1 meal that day. And it kind of reset my body too. Initially I lost weight pretty fast. Now at 101 days, I'm down 50 pounds, which I've never done in my life without some kind of medicine. I've done it before, which that stuff has side effects. It's not good. One time on the Atkins diet, I did like everybody. I lost 40 pounds, and then I went back to eating the way I always ate. So I gained it back and then some. So I'm not going to call this a carnivore diet. I'm going to call it a carnivore lifestyle, because it's a lifestyle change. It can't be a diet, because diets fail. I mean, everybody has a diet, and then when they go off, they gain 50 pounds back. I'm not going to do that this time. Right now, I'm at 231.4 pounds. And in high school, I was 190. So somewhere I get around 200 pounds, I'm going to try to figure out what my natural body weight and my healthy body weight should be. And I believe this is the way to find it.
So what's the feedback been like from your wife?
Well, first of all, she thought I lost my mind. And a lot of people did. But then I told them, I said, when I was 282 pounds, nobody asked me if I was healthy. You just said, "Oh, you're fat." And, "Oh, you need to lose weight." Well, now and everybody's looking at me and making fun of me now. And they're calling me skinny. And they said, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And it's the simplest thing in the world.
Mm.
So I have two friends of mine that are way bigger than I was, twice my size. And I'm trying to convince them, just try it. It's the easiest thing in the world. I mean, if I could do it, I was a failure at losing weight for 65 years. I'm 65 now. And I remember somehow my grandmother at 65, she lost about 40 pounds and she lived into her 90s. So I told myself, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe I should do what she did.
What other changes has this had since you began
Oh,
in April? Like, so the
well,
weight's come down. What else has changed for you?
I could not I could not predict what this was going to do to me. I used to take sleeping pills. I guess I was stressed. I put those away after about a month, and I sleep. I go to bed. I'm asleep in 5 minutes. I get up between 5 and 6 in the morning, which if it's daylight, I suppose I should be up. That's probably my natural clock saying get up. I had GERD and I had heartburn for 15 plus years. And I tell people, I have a good doctor, but we're going to have to talk. Okay. And because the doctor's just like, here, take this pill. Well, I found the cure of it. Um, the heartburn, after the second week of starting Carnivore, the heartburn went away. And I just couldn't believe it. And another thing, my wife would tell me, you don't need to take those pills. Well, on the Carnivore, you're right. I don't. So I stopped taking them. That corrected itself. My sleep is better. My skin looks better, which I never could have thought anything about that. But my skin was like dry and like flaky. Now it's moist. Looks like I'm 20. So I'm like, okay, I could deal with this. And I tell my wife, look at my skin. It's soft. Probably because of the diet. And another thing, I was on testosterone hormone replacement therapy. So every 2 weeks, I take a shot. Well, I'm taking the same amount of the shot, but my testosterone's doubled. And I'm going to have a talk with my doctor. And I think my body's making testosterone again because of the cholesterol that I'm eating, which is required to make testosterone and hormones. So more things than I could have thought of have corrected themselves. Well, the weight is kind of the icing, but the sleep is good. My skin's good. I just feel better. And so at this point, I'm thinking I'm never going back. And I told my wife, thank you for taking these pictures of me. Uh, she was giving me a hard time, but now I can see what progress I've made because I don't feel like I feel like the scale is lying to me because all of a sudden the scale every day I'm about a half a pound lighter than the day before, or I break even for a day, but in 103 days I'm down 50 and a half pounds. So I said, well, I'm not going back. I'm going to continue doing this and see where my natural healthy body weight is.
Your wife encouraged you to do something. She took those
Yes.
photos. Has
Yes.
your wife considered doing this herself?
She is doing it, but her success is a little bit different than mine, but she doesn't eat enough. I told her if I eat like her, I'd probably die. I don't think she's eating enough calories, and she eats just tiny bits, and she loses a pound, she gains a pound. She's down about 20 pounds, probably in about 50 days. But anyway, anything but clothes are fitting differently, so something's going on here. And my opinion is just stay with this, and it's going to have good results because it's just a healthier way to eat. I mean, I've tried all kinds of things in my life. I've tried eating plant-based foods, and that was wonderful. Except I was starving 24 hours a day, and I'm not made to graze. And now it's kind of funny, but I eat a nice carnivore meal, and I'm thinking I'm like my cats. Now I'm ready for a nap. Honest, because I'm so full and satisfied. All of a sudden, I start getting sleepy.
It's interesting you mentioned the cat. Growing up, I dogs and cats. And, you put food down for the dogs, and the dogs are basically always going to get into it, right? I think the dogs kind of act a little bit like humans. They're going like, I don't know where my next meal's going to be. I'm just going to eat, eat, eat. Whereas when you've
Right.
got cats, they're more like, yeah, he's put food down. I'm not hungry right now. I'll go to it when I'm hungry. And then when they're hungry, they go
Yes.
and have a little bit and then they have a sleep. And that's what carnivore really is like for us, I feel.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, now I won't be hungry till noon tomorrow, which to me is amazing.
Mm,
About 11 o'clock tomorrow, I might start getting hungry,
mm,
and then I'll eat my noon meal, and then about 5 hours later, I'll have my second meal, and then I'm done. And so I've it seems like I've trained my body. I tell people I'm taking the weight off the same way I put it on, a little bit at a time and gradually. I don't go to the gym to gain weight, and I'm not going to the gym to lose it.
So let me ask you this. If you went on the carnivore diet and you experienced all of the benefits that you've experienced, the increased testosterone, the better sleep, and all that kind of thing, the satiety, but there was no weight loss associated with it, would you still continue with the carnivore?
Absolutely. Those benefits, those are the best benefits of this. The weight loss is just kind of a bonus. But the way you feel, the way you eat and everything, and the satiety and everything, that is the real benefit of this. It's just a healthier way to eat. It
Mm.
seems like it's a more natural way that we should eat.
So you mentioned your friends before. You're trying to talk them into giving it a go.
Absolutely, I am because it's a lifesaver. I mean, I told people bigger than me, you'll lose the weight faster than I have, and it's easy to do. It's just something, it's a natural thing. It's a secret that we just discovered, and I wish I would have done this 30 years ago, but
Mm.
people back then, well, of course, we had the crazy FDA food pyramid, which was telling me to eat 11 servings of bread. And you could look back. Now I remember the 1960s. I was born in 57. So I remember pictures of people back in the 50s and 60s, and they were not heavy. I mean, my dad was a 180-pound little guy, and I said, "Well, what changed?" Well, what changed was the FDA's recommendations on how to eat, and I think they've completely failed at it.
Yeah. The trouble is, and I would agree, they've completely failed. The trouble is that most people have grown up knowing only that, right? So when you approach people and you talk about, there's this other way of doing things, if you eat a carnivore diet, things are going to change for you. And they kind of look at you like, this guy's crazy, right? Like, how do your friends react to you talking about it?
Well, some of them are just like in shock, and because I sometimes I'm sending them photos of stuff. I scramble some eggs, and I don't put milk in it. I put heavy cream, which is nice and full of fat. And then I cook them in bacon grease, like my grandmother used to do. She lived from the 1880s to the 1970s, eating this terrible diet. We thought, my God, Grandma, how'd you live so long eating like you're eating? And so I put bacon grease, I scramble my eggs, and then when they're done, I throw some butter on top of them. Oh no. So we are so convinced that fat is bad. You have to eat low fat. Well, it's the opposite. When I eat fat, it's training my body now. We're not gonna I'm not gonna get any sugar. So now my body says, okay, I have to burn fat. And then when I go to sleep, my body says, well, it's still, has to run everything. And so it's burning fat. That's exactly what it's doing.
Hmm.
And it's actually doing it. I mean, to me, it's a very easy way. It's just I change the substance that my body is feeding on and getting its energy from, and my body's working the way that it naturally should work now.
Hmm.
And I'll have to have a long talk with my doctor. Um, I'm going to tell her, if you have to take this pill, I have the cure for you. Not we're not going to put a band-aid on it. I can cure you. You'll
Hmm.
never take another heartburn pill again.
So speaking of that, when was the last time you talked to your doctor? And does your doctor know that you're doing this?
I wrote her a letter and told her what I'm doing. I have this like health coach, and she's like, oh God, no, what are you doing? And now at this point, she's like, well, you're getting results. I said, yeah, I am. But they still want to push, eating plant food. Now, my family's from the South, from Alabama, and there's a weed you probably heard of called poke salad. And in order not to starve, 150 years ago, the women would go out in the springtime and pick poke salad, but it's poison. And you had to boil it like 2 or 3 times to get the poison out, and then you could eat it. So a couple of years ago, my wife says, what smells so good? I said, I'm cooking poke salad. Well, why are you boiling it? Because it's poison. She said, why are you eating it then? I said, because it's good. But that reminds me of the other plants. I actually did eat a plant that was poison and had to take some of the poison out so I could tolerate it. But I know like the complex carbohydrates, the junk food, I don't think I'll ever go back to eating those things because they made me sick. And when I was eating that great big apple fritter after lunch, and it was probably 500-600 calories, oh, I was going to get sick within an hour. And I think my body, and I think a lot of people's bodies, cannot digest these carbohydrates. So right now I'm on the natural human diet that we all should be on. And we discovered it from people on YouTube. Thank you. Thank Dr. Barry and everybody on YouTube, because everybody is spreading the word about this. And I absolutely agree with that. This is like we just discovered electricity, and look at this light bulb I made. My God, it's nice,
Yeah. But there's still people out there saying, no, but the candles are the way to go, that's the healthy alternative.
Exactly. No, that's unnatural light. We got to use the candle. Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't, what? So, I mean, there's people that joke about bacon being healthy, but it is healthy. It's good for you. It fills you up. And then I was noticing, this is a byproduct also, but of course my calorie intake is way down because I eat 2 meals a day and I'm not hungry. So then that forces my body. Now it's used to eating fat, and that forces my body to say, well, it's shrinking me. I told a friend of mine I look like a balloon that you let some of the air out so far, and, the bigger you are, the more that's going to be. But I'm like, my God, I got skin. It's like I'm deflating, which is good. And so I'm not going to stop it. And this is a lifestyle change. And so, people are like, how long are you going to do this? Well, I'll let you know when I get to 200 pounds, 190. But I'm never going to go back to eating sugar, and I think alcohol is not good, even though I used to like a little here and there. But you know what? It's not necessary for me, and I can live without it. Is not. I'm not going to die if I don't eat it, but I can have some bacon and eggs and feel great.
It's interesting you say that people are like, well, how long are you going to do this? Because everyone's got the frame of mind that, of course, when you're on a diet, it's only for a limited period of time to achieve some goal, like getting into that, that old tuxedo for a wedding or something like that, like yes. Your whole mindset shifts when you're doing a way of eating like carnivore, because, you don't feel like this needs to be something that you're only going to stick to for, a month or two, right?
I'm thinking this is a permanent change. Now, I've seen people say, well, we might introduce, one thing at a time and see how you react to it. But I know what I can't eat, because when I stopped the junk food, those carbohydrates, I mean, in 2 weeks I was feeling better, and so there's no benefit to me to eat those things. There's some big corporations that might benefit, but I don't benefit. So I'm going to eat what's healthy for me, and let's see how long we can make this run. But it's just a natural, good diet that 50 years ago, people ate like this, 50, 60, 70 years ago, and they didn't even think about it. And all of a sudden, we tried to change this to make things better. We did not make things better. obesity is a epidemic. In the United States, I think there's 32 million people that are overweight, that are obese. And so, and this is the result of listening to the experts. Okay, so I'm not an expert. I'm just the guy that lost 50 pounds in 100 days. So I'm going with everybody who guided me on this path, and it's working for me. So I'm going to stay on it. Absolutely.
It's one of these things that once you kind of you get over to this side where you are on carnivore and you kind of realize, you know, there's just this has to be the way we're intended to eat because this works for everyone. You know, like all the other diets that are out there, all the other exercise programs and all that kind of thing, you know, you'll see like it works for this person or this subset of people, right? But it doesn't work for everyone. Most people struggle. But then you look at carnivore or ketovore or keto even, and you just say, well, that seems to be the way we're intended to eat.
Yes, I mean it's just a natural human thing, and all human beings. I have a crazy philosophy, but I think all human beings were like one living life source. You know, this planet has life, and we're part of that life. And so we might think we're separate from it, but we're not. You know,
Hmm.
and you know, when I leave this body, the Earth is going to require this back. I'm just borrowing this from the planet, and I'm walking around in it, but the planet's going to get it back. Okay. And I'm happy with that. And I'm a part of it now, and I'll be a part of it then. So things don't change for me.
Hmm. So just to go back to talking about friends. So let's say someone at work or another friend or whatever, you've got like basically 30 seconds or 60 seconds to kind of explain to them why they should give carnivore a try. What would you say to them?
I would tell them that if you try to lose weight by starving yourself, no animal on this planet wants to starve. You go to carnivore, you're going to eat good food, healthy food. You're going to be full and you're going to be satisfied. And this is something, it's a natural thing that you can stick to. This is a
Mm,
natural plan. I didn't make it. I just heard about it and tried it. And I said, oh my gosh, this works. These things you try, if you try to live on salads and stuff, I'm not a rabbit, and you're going to fail. I can predict. I've seen it and I've done it myself. One of my friends is like, "Well, you're missing nutrients." No, I'm not. I eat liver. Uh, I have liver sausage, and I eat crazy things, different than my wife. I went out and got chicken gizzards. I got chicken livers, and she ran from me. I threw them. I put them in bacon grease, and I sit there eating chicken livers, and they were quite good. Now, some people mix them with hamburger, but I ate them when I was a child, and they're healthy for you. They got vitamins.
mm,
So this is something that is sustainable, that's doable, that's comfortable, it's natural. Um, I don't see a downside from this. I really don't,
mm,
except that it helps people and it doesn't cost any. You know, what's it cost? This is how you eat. We can't make $1 billion from this. We could just tell people, look, do this,
mm.
and I won't make a dime from it, but people will be helped because it's helped me.
I think that's the important thing that everyone has to bear in mind. Like the the regular way of dieting, the regular way of exercise, it's all kind of set up to make someone money at the end of the day, right? But like people out there talking about carnivore are not actually making money from this. You know, they're not able to sell a product because you don't need to sell any products. You know, you just say go to the supermarket or go to the market and buy meat. That's all you need to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm,
This is it's a lifestyle change. It's pretty much going to be a permanent change for me. Um, there's no pill. I'm not going to sell you 8 meals a day or something. I'm not going to tell you you need to eat every 3 or 4 hours like I was doing. If I went 6 hours, I was physically sick. Now I go 18 hours every day, and about once a week, I want to do about 24 hours. It kind of resets my body. What you know, 5,000 years ago, we might have went a week without eating. You know, Like a joke I heard one time, a vegetarian's a bad hunter, you know.
I have a question, just going back to the food you were talking about before. How does a chicken gizzard taste?
It's not bad. It's a mussel. They eat rocks, and then there's this little mussel, and they get the grain in there, and they smash the stuff up. It's part of their digestion. And I don't have a gizzard, so probably I shouldn't eat corn like they do and seeds like they do, but they have a special stomach that grinds this up and it passes through. The same way with the cows got like 4 stomachs or 5. And I only got one stomach, so I got to make it good. And so a gizzard, it's an organ meat, but it's like a little muscle. Same way with a
Hmm.
heart.
So
A
I guess a
heart is
bit chewy.
just a muscle. Yeah, it is, and it's got some gristle like around it, some connecting tissue, and so you eat some of that, and the rest you can't eat it. You get rid of it, but you just bite the muscle off of it. And
Hmm.
there's a lining on it that you when you cook it, then you peel the lining off from the inside because that's what has the rocks in it, and then you peel the little lining off and you eat the muscle out of the thing, and you get some of the collagen and stuff, I'm sure, but all
Hmm.
those things are good for you. And
Yeah.
chicken livers they're wonderful. My
Yeah.
wife eats what is that, liver sausage, which that's good too.
Yeah. So, and how you said your wife is probably not eating enough volume in the day. How is she feeling about it? Is this something that's maybe going to be long term for her as well, or do you think she needs to do some adjustments first?
I think she's probably going to be more ketovore than me.
Hmm.
I'm pretty happy. I could do carnivore indefinitely, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, when I throw a steak on the barbecue, I don't say, "Oh no, I got to need another ribeye." Doggone it! Are you kidding? It's wonderful. And or even if I fry hamburgers on there, I make them a little bit rare. They're wonderful. So I'm 65 and I haven't got tired of steak yet. So I don't anticipate that I'll ever get tired of it. I change it up with a little chicken every once in a while. And when I was younger, I used to be a hunter. So if it crawled, if it swam, I got it. You know, so most anything's about edible. Um, but now I'm kind of older and I live in the city. So, but
So
a little venison, it's a very good meat. I would mix some fat with it.
you mentioned you're 65. Are you still working at the moment, Michael?
Just retired at the end of June. And
Uh-huh.
I was offered a couple jobs, but one lady asked me yesterday, "Are you going to take this job?" I said, "I'm retired." Okay.
So you're enjoying it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I talked to a guy that's in his 70s, and I said, I thought, no, I gotta wake up and go to work tomorrow. And then I said, no, I don't. He says, I've been retired 10 years. I still think that every once in a while.
Hmm.
So the stress is off of me. Um, I have my medical coverage, I have my pension and my retirements and things. So, and I'm pretty much enjoying every day to the fullest.
So you what were you doing before? What kind of work did you do?
Actually, I worked for an Australian company that runs the Indiana Toll Road, and they're a pretty good company. They were everybody that came to work there. I told them it's the opportunity of a lifetime, and it was absolutely.
Interest a toll road.
Yes,
Oh wow.
they own toll roads around the world, and so I worked for the one in northern Indiana. I did computer hardware and things like that.
Oh nice. Yeah, you don't miss the lugging the computer hardware around and stuff
Nope,
under
absolutely.
desks
Up and
and
down ladders, no.
yeah. Nice. So you've got a YouTube channel, is that right?
Yeah, it's inland watch reviews. Sometimes I just call it inland reviews.
Mm,
I've done everything on there. I've made soap on there. That's a pretty simple thing that we learned how to do centuries ago, and I make some pretty darn good soap. But I've
mm,
got soap from around. I've got it from the Middle East. I got it from France. I got it from Australia. Everybody has their little thing, and it's really good. So, so even I make my own soap, and that's another use for tallow. Makes the best soap. I tell you what.
mm.
Um, and it's just a chemical process. that human beings learned a long time ago. But you can make soap out of any kind of oil or fat. But beef tallow, I found out, really makes a nice soap, a nice hard bar, and it just lathers wonderful. And I've done other things on there. I put a couple of videos on there about the carnivore lifestyle. One of them, I think I put when I hit 100 days and how I was doing. I got my blood work done. I put some of that information on there. Yeah, it's just it's a way for me just to talk to people and them to interact with me and about watches and all kinds of subjects, really.
So speaking of your blood work, how did those results go?
Actually, my total cholesterol was like 200. I've always had low cholesterol. I mean, it was usually about 100. But then I read some people, when they, a third of people, it doesn't affect at all. Another third of people, it goes up a little bit. And then you have people where the cholesterol really shoots to the roof. Well, mine, it's about the same as it was. It went up just a little bit, and I'm not concerned about it. So I'm going to have to tell my cardiologist, if you think about putting me on a statin or anything, you might get fired because I'm not above finding another doctor. I'll do that. Because anyway, I'm in charge of my health, basically. And if they're not informed, of course, they haven't said a word except, my God, keep losing weight. That's the only thing they've told me. They look at me, they're like, oh, it's working. Yeah, it is. So, and a number of 200 for total cholesterol, I'm not concerned about it at all. Okay. They don't know what the normal range is, I don't think. They're guessing.
How does it work? If let's say based on whatever scales they have, they decided that you should be doing a statin. If they wanted to put you on a statin, how does it work? If you refuse, can they refuse you as a patient, or how does that work?
They could, and I could find another doctor too. I've done that to one doctor. Okay. He didn't understand the hormone replacement. Now, he's a good doctor. I like him and everything, but he just didn't know. And so my red blood cell count was up, and he thought I had blood cancer. So he sent me to the cancer doctor. And I thought, uh-oh, here he goes. I'm in trouble. So I went to the cancer doctor. He said, your red blood cells are up. I said, I take testosterone. That's a side effect. And then he told me, why are you here? I said, I don't know. You mean I don't have cancer? No. Oh, that's good news, doc. And then I told him, me and my general doctor, we're going to practice medicine. I'm going to take the lowest dose to affect my red blood cell count the lowest and where I feel good. And that doctor told me, he says, that sounds like a good plan. And I said, I think so. But now I tested it, and it went from 300, which is low normal, to 600. And I said, well, what's going on? I haven't changed the medicine. So I'm going to talk to my general doctor and say, look, I wonder, is my body making testosterone again? The way to find out is to stop taking the shots every 2 weeks and wait 3 or 4 months and then have a blood test. And if it's in the normal range, then doggone it, I got another medicine I don't have to take.
That's really nice. Because the more you can get off, the better, right?
Oh, absolutely. They had me on blood pressure medicine, and I go in and my blood pressure's great. And so I'm thinking, well, should I come off this yet? No, not yet. I said, okay, I'll be patient with them.
Yeah,
I'll let them do their thing, but I might want to test it too. Doctors practice medicine, and so let's see what happens here.
I think one of the really good things about carnivore is it makes us much more informed about this kind of stuff. So when we're talking to the doctor or the cardiologist or whoever it is, we're talking from a place of actually having more knowledge about, how things are working, and it's easier for us to ask questions.
I absolutely agree with you. Well, now, so many doctors are on YouTube and everything and on the internet, and you could watch procedures being done. So if you have to have anything done, you could watch it done before it happens to you, and you could be completely prepared for whatever you need to have.
Mm.
But there's just more knowledge, and it's more available to everybody now. Anybody who has a computer, the knowledge is there and it's available. And we have some experts out there. Of course, we have some of them that kind of miss the ball too, But the thing is, if I made a mistake, I'll say I made a mistake. Look, I was wrong. Okay. And some of these people are like, oh, no, you got to eat low fat. Well, no, I don't. Let me tell you what's happening with me, Doc.
Yeah, and the low fat experiment has pretty much been proven a failure. The number of decades that's been going on, right?
Well, just look at the results. I don't have to have a test. I don't have to spend millions for a test. Just go out, go to the grocery store, and take a camera.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do.
Yeah, very good point. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for inviting me and everything. And so we need everybody on YouTube, we need to get this information out, because there are people in the world that need this so desperately, worse than I did. I needed it pretty bad, though. I don't know how many years I had left in the condition I was in. I was not in good condition, and my condition is improving every day. So there's people that desperately need this. It is a life and death situation. And everything you've heard for the last 50 years, you just have to recognize that it may be wrong. You may have to take a leap of faith and just kind of step out and try this, and it will work. Rest assured, if it worked for me, it'll work for anybody. I'm not special. I'm just a member of this beautiful human race we belong to, and we have discovered something that has been lost. And so have a leap of faith and just step out and do this and try it. And then in 6 months, call me, and you will be happy.
Guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.